Welcome to the Stogie Palace. I am your host, Chris. Today I'm trying a Rocky Patel Vintage 2003 Cameroon. I've rated this before, not on video. I rated it really high, near the top of all my cigars I've ever smoked. It's got a kind of a barnyardy manure kind of smell. Sweet though. Real cocoa, dark, like a dark cocoa flavor to it, with a good draw. So let's see if that carries over. This is a 5.5 by 50 robusto, rated as full strength. I don't remember it being too powerful nicotine wise. I got it for $4.40 on Cigar bid in a 5-pack, and it's been aging for over 4 months, so should do better than first couple times I smoked these, and I remember liking them a lot for sure. Obviously the wrapper is Cameroon. First initial tasting there, which I never try to rate too much on the initial tasting, because sometimes if it gets overheated it could be a little bitter, and that's kind of what I'm getting. The binder is Nicaraguan and the filler is Nicaraguan and Dominican. I rated this a 95 when I was just kind of getting started in rating cigars. It's got a pepperiness to it there in the front. Putting off some good smoke, good draw. A lot of smoke. I did a V cut on there. Look at all the smoke coming off of that. That's good. I think the highest Rocky Patel I've smoked was it's a Decade Cameroon, another Cameroon. I gave a 98, which is off the charts. RockyPatel.com says about this one: the blend delivers a medium-bodied smoking experience with hints of sweet wood, light spice, and coffee. Yeah, I'm getting some of the wood. That's doesn't sound right. Getting the kind of a flavor of smoky wood, like from a campfire. I'll be interested to see how the wrapper holds up. Cameroon is sometimes kind of on the thin side, although it's a little more humid than normal out here. It's 40%, still less than the humidor, but Cameroon is one of the more hard to get, expensive, sometimes delicate wrappers, although I don't recall, I'll have to look back in my notes, I don't recall having a problem with the wrapper on this one or the Decade Cameroon, which was just a terrific cigar. I got to get more of those. Good start, more peppery than I remember. But it's good. Nice looking wrapper too. Got out the old magnifying glass and really took a hard look at it. Looks pretty good so far. So let's keep on going. Down about an inch or so. Great construction, as usual with Rocky Patel. It's pretty rare that I have any issues with construction on Rocky Patel cigars. Perfect draw. That is about as tight of an ash as you're going to find. It's mostly whitish grayish with a little black here and there. Definitely more peppery than I recall, but I looked at my notes from 4 months ago when I smoked one of these, and shockingly similar notes starting off with what I just started writing. Dry is the first thing that came to mind. Like if you're having a wine or a champagne and you get that dryness in your mouth, that's happening here. I did notice in my notes that the middle third improved a little bit in my previous cigar, so probably going to happen again here. That one there was only about a month old from a cigar shop, not even that actually. And like I said, this one's over 4 months old. And my humidor at 65% the whole time in cellophane. But it's more peppery. The dryness there, not a load of flavor. Feels like, well, I don't know. The retro, I tried a retro, I'll try another one here in this retro hail. I'll try another one here in a second. But it was a little, you push out a retro hail too fast at your nose, it'll be more burny. It'll be a little harsher. So that's why I usually slow it down a little bit. Interesting. Yeah, it's that smoky kind of flavor, like wood. Let's try a waft. Hopefully this doesn't fall off on me. It's a nice waft. It's not as nice as some of the Maduros I've had as far as the San Andreas. Just can't beat the waft on those. Or the Corojo. But it's definitely nice. Looking good there. Let's keep on going. I'm trying to tell you what I'm getting flavor-wise, but it's hard to pick out. Finish is lasting a little longer. It sort of reminds me of after drinking maybe some scotch or something like that. That's the kind of finish impression I'm getting, which oddly enough, last time I had one of these, I was drinking it with some single malt. But I'm getting that flavor anyway, even without that. Just drinking water. So far so good. Solid cigar for sure. Let's keep on going. Working my way down, about halfway in. The ash fell off in one big chunk, over an inch long. And as usual, there was a transition, a little bit sweeter, I noticed. Maybe a little bit of cedar in there, but it's not as dry. And for me, what the sensation I'm getting right now is whatever it is that makes a cigar dry or not dry, it must have to do, at least for me, and I've noticed it in this second third, is that my own salivary glands kind of kick in or something when there's a difference in the tobacco or some kind of transition, and it went from pretty dry to not dry at all, which is great. And the wood in the description makes sense, especially with when I was telling you I was getting a sense of the flavor from scotch or stuff. It must be like a peaty type of thing. I'm not getting that as much now. That's kind of tapered off a little bit. I'm actually pretty happy that I'm noticing these transitions. It's just, I can't tell you, okay, I'm getting although I did say a little bit of cedar there. You know, all those other things that people describe. Hope someday I can do that. Not there, I can just tell you there is a change. And I do definitely appreciate transitions, complexity in a cigar. The smoke did back off a little bit there in that transition, but it's picking back up again. Burn line, just that little thing there, no big deal. Draw perfect, smoke output's increasing. The wrapper is starting to get a little of a problem there, but enjoying the cigar. Good. The finish is not my cup of tea though, I will say that right now. It's that cedar, which, like I said 100 times, not always my favorite, which shocks me. I thought cedar would probably be one of my favorites, but there's something about it, cedar, that doesn't do it for me. I'm definitely more of a cocoa, maybe even coffee, even though I don't drink coffee. I like the smell of it. But more of the cocoa, deeper, richer flavors. But no, I'm liking it so far. About to take off the first band. Matter of fact, I'll do it right now. Looks like it's going to come off easily because the way that it, and I don't have any fingernails. I made the mistake of cutting them too short, which I always do, but need a little bit of a nail to get that, but that came off a piece of cake, the first one. This is Vintage 2003 Cameroon on it. Yep, picking up that oaky, peaty kind of thing going on in the finish. Definitely notice it in the finish. Hangs around for a little bit longer than most, but so far so good. Let's keep going. Just about to the band point here. Second chunk of ash fell off. And unfortunately, and it doesn't happen with all cigars, it happens with a lot though, that when that ash falls off and which was a little bit ways back, and there's nothing there except for the cherry, a lot of times there is some bitterness and some harshness, and sure enough, it happened here, unfortunately. Smoke output and draw are still perfect. No complaints there, but in this final third, getting a little sting, not sting, but there's definitely a stronger finish, especially on the tip of the tongue, more peppery, and there's definitely some strength in this. I had a little piece of candy to offset that, works every time. But yeah, flavor-wise, it's kind of decreasing. The middle was pretty good. And this kind of coincides with what I wrote earlier about this cigar a few months ago. The first third and the final third are a little more peppery. The flavor isn't as nice or smooth, so it's not going to end up with a 95 this time, I can tell you that for sure. But yeah, it's cracking in a couple places at the burn line, midway to the cap, and on the cap itself. So the wrapper isn't holding up as well as it should. So let's keep on going. Well, I'm going to wrap up this review of this Rocky Patel Vintage 2003 Cameroon. And after not smoking one for a few months, and smoking a whole lot in between of different cigars, I am revising my review. Let me get out my journal here, because just some thoughts that came to mind, and I made a lot of notes on this one, almost filled up the entire page. As you can maybe see there. But just towards the end here, first of all, it went out for no apparent reason. And there was some bitterness after the ash fell off, like I said, and scraped it out, relit it, purged it, and I'm getting the sense that there's a lot of strength packed into this final part because my tongue is really tingling from the power of it. And it's not because of the heat. There is a little heat coming through, but not enough to burn my tongue. And it's just a little too much there at the back end, and not a loads of flavor. The wrapper's cracking. Unlike some previous ones that were really good, where I'd use my Havana Saver to get as much as I could out of this, I'm probably just gonna end it and just let it go out. Just because this final third is not all that flavorful, and the aroma was good throughout. The burn line was nearly perfect the entire time. The construction seems to be top notch. Draw was really good throughout, although, like I said, for no apparent reason, boom, just went out. And not because of me not paying attention to it. So, looking at previous cigars and my old grading on a curve, and like I said, people accuse me sometimes of being too friendly to cigars and scoring them too high. Well, maybe I should rethink about smoking them a few times before I come up with a number, because This one's going to end up with a score of, it's a tough one to score. I'm going to say 92, which to a lot of you people probably say, wow, that's still a really good score for a cigar. I guess. For me, 92 it might be slightly below what I would consider getting a whole lot more of, or calling it a go-to cigar. Yeah, there's definitely strength in this thing, more than I like. And it's really pouring it on here at the end. So I'm probably just gonna end not only the review, but the cigar at this point. So, like I said, construction's a high point, always is with Rocky Patel. It's quality stuff. Don't get me wrong, but there's quite a few others of his that I smoked that are quite a bit better, which is totally surprising me because early on this was one of my favorites, but it's kind of dropping in the charts compared to some others I've smoked, some other Rocky Patels. But thanks for watching. This is Chris at the Stogie Palace. Yeah, that tingling on the tongue is new, and it's just, whew, it's picking up strength in a big way. And by that I mean nicotine. I don't mean body, I don't mean flavor, I just mean strength as far as the amount of nicotine in it. So appreciate all the views of my videos, and check out the others. I will see you later.